Alright guys, welcome back to another Bedwars video, and in this video we'll be talking about the best grinders in Bedwars. And there's not really a common way to make an objective list, so I just made my own formula as I do, and the formula is square root of star times finals per star times wins per star, which is obviously not perfect, it's a little unbalanced, but it's close enough to make a good video, which is all that matters. Now I won't be including 4v4 stats for obvious reasons. I actually will be including cheaters this time. The only reason I am though is because there are actually not that many cheaters that made the list, and the ones that did make the list are still really good players that need to be mentioned. I mean, I won't be including like botters or anything, but there will be a few closeters on this list. Lastly, again, I'll be plugging this for a while, but channel members do get access to all the win streak leaderboards in my Discord server, pretty much every leaderboard possible, legit and not legit, and I'm even expanding into other categories like duels and bed fight, so for $5 you can get that and more. But with that, thanks to my current channel members, and let's get into the video. At number 25, we have Tilting Sun. He has 3166 stars, which is the 18th highest in the world, 60 finals per star, and 13.2 wins per star. For reference, the average player is about 100 stars with 25 finals per star and 8 or so wins per star. This will give a score of about 2,000, and on the very high end of the spectrum you could have someone with 1,000 stars, which is like top 1500 in the world, 60 finals per star and 17 or so wins per star. These are all very high end stats, definitely not as high as the people in the video, but still very impressive. This will give a score of about 30,000. Now Tilting Sun at number 25 has a score of 44,602, almost 15,000 higher. Now Tilting Sun is maybe one of the best non-ranked players skill-wise. Of the top 100, he also has the 4th highest FKDR and WLR, and also one of the highest finals per star. But the main reason I see Tilting Sun as one of the best non-ranked players is because of his other account, which will actually be mentioned later, since Tilting Sun is the only person with 2 different accounts on this list, which is way crazier than it seems. I don't think anyone has 2 accounts in the whole like top 500 besides maybe some sold accounts or something. So having 2 accounts in the top 25 is actually like insane. At number 24, we have Arham, or Unsnipeable. That's complicated. They have 735 stars, 75 finals per star, and 22 wins per star, which is pretty insane. But here we run into our first cheated account, because this account actually has the 2nd highest win streak of all time, like ever, at 2187. Now to be fair, 2024 of these wins were botted, which I said I wouldn't include botted accounts, but the botted wins only take up about 1/8 of the wins. And even though this account is named Arham, all the stats on it, or at least the win streak, was obtained fully by Ducky, who sold it to Arham after the win streak. And there's a common misconception that Ducky lost the win streak, and I'm pretty sure even I thought he lost the win streak, but that's actually not true. I'm not gonna like out anybody, but there were some false rumors spread, and it is in fact alive and well, at least the win streak, not the account. Now I said that only 224 of the wins were botted, and the last 163 were apparently both after obfuscation and unbotted, which is pretty ballsy, but they were also banned before they got the chance to lose, which maybe might be a blessing in disguise. At number 23, we have Hashido. They have 3,023 stars with 58 finals per star and 14 wins per star, and this is our first of multiple solo mains, and solos is an underrated game mode for grinding finals. As long as you're decent at the game, you're pretty much guaranteed like 3 to 5 finals per game. And in other game modes, even though there's more players, the better you are, the better your team is. I mean, saying that's the best mode for finals is a very controversial take and also a false take, but I won't open up that argument right now. Anyways, Hashido is a very good player, same as pretty much everyone else on this list, but he has one of the most impressive achievements in Bedwars as a whole. He's been on the top of every solo leaderboard since like early 2018, or more than 85% of all of Bedwars. Like, there's nothing to even compare it to. The only thing that comes close in terms of dominance is War, who's like 2,000 stars ahead of everyone else. And like, he'll be number 1 for a long ass time, but Hashido has been number 1 on every solo leaderboard for well over 7 years, without getting past once, at least as far as I know. Which again, like, I try to quantify how impressive this is, but no one really does anything close to this. Some other achievements include having the first 150 solos win streak, and he's tied with Tilting Sun and Primeeks for the 2nd most 140 solos win streaks at 3. The most is Zeke, who has like 6, but that's a whole different man we'll talk about later. Anyways, I've heard some rumors that he like quit or like is going to, but I don't know if it's actually true, since I mean, he still plays a lot. even though he's probably in like his mid-20s at least. But JBC, who is also someone talk about later, is honestly getting pretty close to him on the beds and finals leaderboard. That's been the case for like a while now, low-key, so it honestly might be even longer before anyone defeats his 7.5-year reign on the leaderboards. At number 22, we have Smecaroni. and they have the second least stars in this list at 584, but they have 65 finals per star and 29 wins per star, which is the most of anybody legit, and that's averaging like sub 2-minute games for nearly 18,000 games. He's around number 9,000 in star, but he's in the top 330 for wins, which there's only one other person on this list who comes even close to that, but we'll get to that later. And this guy's the same guy as Smek, who was a very good rank player back in the day, and this account was almost fully achieved before 2020, and to be honest, I wasn't in the community at this time, so I can't tell you much about his history, but he was rocking with some pretty big names, even playing with GamerWare80 at some point. This isn't some fluke account either, since he had 25 wins on his other account, so he really just grinds that hard. Though I was playing with some of the best players back when the game was like free, so not to be that guy, but it's not like that surprising. Also, fun fact, he's the person who warped Specular out, making him lose an 800 win streak, and that's the highest legit win streak that wasn't lost on purpose or sniped, besides some obfuscation bypass win streaks, which is a topic for another video. But anyways, to be fair, at least stats wise, this guy is kind of carried. I know he's one of the best players in this time and all, but like he almost has the same FKDR and WLR on his ult, which is not something that should be happening, and his FKDR to WLR ratio isn't that great on its main either. So while this guy is one of the best grinders of his time, part of his placement can also be account to his connections and just how free the game was in like 2018. At number 21, we have Yusuf at 892 stars. They actually have 77 finals per star and 20 wins per star, which is both world class, but this guy is a cheater again. He actually has technically the highest unbotted win streak in 1973, though Yusuf's 2025 was higher and mostly unbotted. He did bot about 100 games, which would put it at 1925 unbotted, and this is also the 5th highest win streak ever, and also the highest win streak lost ever, and also the world record snipe set by Ducky, Netty, and someone else. Now this win streak was almost entirely done with just closeting, and for a big part of the win streak, Yusuf's teammates were fully legit, apparently, but they did toggle once to anti-snipe Elliot at around 1200, which is a whole different story. It was apparently lost because Yusuf got bored and queued more dangerously, and it also has a case for being one of the most impressive cheater win streaks, and if you want more info on the win streak itself, you can watch this video. At number 20, we have Nobmo. They have 2937 stars and 56 finals per star with 15 wins per star. High stars do have a pretty decent advantage on this list, which is why this guy's here, even though it's only really like above average stats wise, and while it's definitely not world class, it's still pretty well rounded and impressive to be grinding this hard for 54,000 games. In fact, even though he's just top 30 in stars, as of recording he's number 8 for wins, only 12 away from number 7, and is also number 11 for finals, which is like 100 away from the leaderboard. Though a year ago he did actually quit, so even though he's close to the leaderboards, he'll probably never make it on. At number 19, we have Son of a Tilt. This is definitely the biggest surprise in this video. They are the lowest star by far at 236, and they have 123 finals per star and 26 wins per star, which is hard to like conceive. So they actually have the highest finals per star of like anybody I could find at all, legit or not legit, besides like botters, I guess. I genuinely couldn't find anybody with a higher current finals per star. They have almost 30,000 finals at 230 stars. That's a final every like 40 seconds for the entire account. By the way, this is Tiltingson Alt, who I talked about earlier, and this is the big reason why I'm considering him one of the best non-ranked players, maybe even one of the best players period at this point. He also has the highest legit FKDR above 200 stars at 278.6, not to mention the 26 wins per star, which is also the second highest wins per star ever, averaging sub 230 minute games for over 6,000 games. He also has a 553s win streak, which is the 14th highest ever, and Tiltingson also has the second highest solos win streak on his main, which is off topic, but still. There's also some boosting allegations, but if you want my full opinion on that, I covered it mostly in this video, and this is probably the most impressive legit accounts like ever. Top 3 bare minimum. I could mention this stuff like his 331 doubles FKDR, which is the 6th highest legit, behind legitimate liability, laser, AG, and Afro, though it honestly might be more since I'm not a doubles expert, or his 363 solos FKDR, which is the top 7-ish, behind Deweyer, legitimate twice, liability twice, and whack. So to recap, all on the same account, he has the highest finals per star, legit or not legit, the second highest wins per star, the highest legit FKDR above 200 stars, 5th highest doubles FKDR, 6th highest solos FKDR, the highest doubles and threes FKDR above 150 stars, and nearly double second place at that, while also being the second highest FKDR in 4s and solos. So I am very, very tempted to call this the best account, but sadly, I've already taken a blood oath to sacrifice my loyalty to legitimate, so for now he's number 2. At number 18 we have Job Police. They have 1864 stars with 62 finals per star and 18 wins per star, and this guy is pretty obviously Kuban if you look at his name history, and Kuban is a pretty good cheated win streaker, having the 37th highest cheated win streak and the 5th highest doubles cheated win streak on a different account. That also might just be someone else, so don't take my word for that. And he actually has some pretty good win streaks on this account as well, like an 844 win streak and a 300 doubles win streak. At number 17 we have Zeke Gaming. They have 2411 stars with 65 finals per star and 15 wins per star. Now the main thing about Zeke is he's pretty much like just the best solo win streaker. I glazed him in my solo video, but I guess I didn't get it fully on my system because this guy has 9 win streaks over 135 and the next highest has like 3. He has 16 win streaks above 100 and the next highest is like 4 by Tilting Sun. Having 4 times as many win streaks as anyone else is like unheard of. For every 100 win streak even the second best win streaker has, Zeke has 4. By the way, he allegedly never has used overlay except for some like nicks or something. It's kind of complicated, but if you're curious you should watch my solo video for a better explanation. And as much as I'm glazing this guy, he is kind of a quality over quantity kind of guy. I mean, he never had a 200 win streak even though he had 16 over 100 and 5 over 150. He also apparently like only queues airshow, so it might just be that he's really easy to snipe, but still, I mean, just look at the solo leaderboard, man. I cannot point out how good this is. And on my win streaker leaderboard, which, have I ever mentioned that? I have the top 100-ish win streakers ranked on a point system. Anyways, on the win streaker leaderboard, I won't leak his exact placement, but he's well into the top 10 from only solos. He has 230 points on the leaderboard from only solos. The second highest from one mode is HA, who has 118 from 3s. He's nearly double as good at one mode than anyone else is in any other mode. At number 16, we have JBC with 2,838 stars, 66 finals per star, and 14 wins per star. And if you can tell by the quality difference, I had to re-record this part since something happened with this man. I mean, if you're active, you probably already know. But about Hashido earlier, some of my glazing sadly no longer holds up because as I'm recording this, JBC has passed Hashido in solo finals, ending his 7-year reign at the top, and also sadly pointing out in this video that Hashido is low-key like washed. And while Hashido still has a decent gap in wins, he'll get beat in bed soon by JBC and soon will become a has-been. Anyways, I don't know why I'm acting like he died. JBC, who I know is watching by the way, I see you. JBC is not just a leaderboard player, he also is the 4th most daily solo wins, 5th most weekly solo wins, 3rd in overall beds, and as you'd expect from people on the list, he also has a really good amount of finals and wins for a star, which if you've forgotten, which I honestly don't blame if you did, is the point of the video. He's number 23 on stars, but number 9 on finals, and number 10 on wins. At number 15, we have minemen.club with 609 stars, 84 finals per star, and 24 wins per star. And this guy has the 4th highest legit wins per star, I believe, and also the 3rd highest legit finals per star. He gets a final every minute or so, and a win every like 2 minutes 45 seconds. Which is like double the average, and this guy is a pretty well-known old player. He hasn't played Bedwars for years, but he still plays TNT games apparently. Also, this guy still does quests, which is very uncommon for someone with this high stats per star. In fact, if he didn't do quests, he'd have over 100 finals per star and 34 wins per star. 34 wins per star, by the way, would be the highest wins per star, legit or not legit, by anyone besides botters. The next highest legit wins per star is 29. This means he actually averages like a minute 40-ish games per game for like 17,500 games, and this guy mainly played back in like 2018, and his stats of 2018 somehow are even better. Back then he had 39 wins per star and 133 finals per star, which I don't know how accurate that actually is, since that would mean averaging like a minute 20 games, which is basically averaging near leaderboard times. I mean, there's like a 5% chance it might happen since it's like 2018 and he was a good player, but I seriously doubt that's possible at all, since that's like double as fast as even people like Panda and Wings, so something's definitely up there. But back in his day, this guy was a really well-known leaderboard player, even playing with like Gamerboy 80 on the regular, which is kind of crazy. At number 14, we have Green Sheepy. They have 2,333 stars, 69 finals per star, and 16 wins per star. And from what I've heard, this guy might need a whole video on his own, but I'll try to sum it up in like a minute segment. So first, this guy is not legit to say the least. This account I'm pretty sure was bought by Green Sheep and was originally owned by Amiro. This is also not the only high star account owned by Green Sheep. He also has a 2400 star account, which is stolen from Feedy. And then the person who stole it sold it to Green Sheep for like $100, which is an extremely low price for someone's 5,700 hours of work. Like, if he'd been working federal minimum wage for that time instead of playing Bedwars, he could have made $41,000. So this account being sold for $100 is kind of crazy. But at the same time, Feedy apparently also had like a very large amount of people with the login. So to be honest, it wasn't really their own work in the first place. But side tangent aside, from what I've seen, people talk about Green Sheep like he's some kind of King Von, bro. They say he can get your account no matter what you do, and like he's the most dangerous beamer around. I don't know how true those rumors are since I've never been beamed by him, but a good word of advice: don't join random ass Discord servers that ask for weird verification. It's just not a good idea. At number 13, we have Tints. They have 1237 stars with 71 finals per star and 21 wins per star. And while this guy seems to be legit on this account, I'm pretty sure he's actually a sniper, supposedly. And while he's only top 800 in stars, he's number 81 in finals and 70 on wins, which is pretty cool. At number 12, we have Dephone. He has 1600 stars and 77 finals per star with 14 wins per star. And for those who don't know, like the 3 people, Dephone is the guy with the highest win streak ever at 1818. This guy also has one of the best stats accounts at 1600 stars. He has almost 136 FKDR, though he does only have 34 WLR, but he is the highest star to have above 100 FKDR, and based off stats alone, probably like a top 5 legit account. But if you put in context, from this being mainly in 2018, then it's probably like not even top 1000 most impressive accounts, since like I doubt he could maintain 10 FKDR nowadays, and even that's generous. He also has the second highest doubles FKDR above like 500 stars, and besides legitimate, no one even comes close. He also has a very high force FKDR, which is the highest above 500 stars, but he does get blown out of the water from some outs like Liability's 1462 FKDR, which is pretty crazy. And I haven't even talked about this part yet, but his finals per star is like the 4th highest finals per star of anyone above 700 stars, and even though he's barely top 300 in stars, he's number 45 in wins and 24 in finals, which is pretty crazy. Also, I forgot to mention, but he actually has a really high doubles win streak, and I didn't put it in my doubles win streak video because I hadn't found it, and while I won't spoil its exact placement or win streak, it is well into the top 10. At number 11, we have Roka Wow, and they have 1124 stars with 80 finals per star and 20 wins per star, and this account is not legit, and Roka is in fact a known sniper, cheater, booster, and pretty much everything under the sun. Their biggest win streak is probably their botted 924 force win streak, and while that's, as far as I know, their only real big win streak, they have helped with a lot of pretty big win streaks like I'm a Hypocrite 4 and some games on Secret and Yusuf's win streak. At number 10, we have RRG. They have 2587 stars with 57 finals per star and 19 wins per star, and while RRG is the current owner of this account, it was originally owned by Cluelaw, who at the time was one of the best cheetah win streakers. He has an 1831 overall win streak, which is the 7th highest ever, and also achieved with Crap and No Devil. And he has a 1794 3 win streak, which is the 4th highest 3 win streak ever. He also has a legit 458 3 win streak, and he's one of, I think, 7 people that have win streaks on both legit and not legit leaderboards. The others being Curtis, God Delusion, Panda, Grey Pale, O Devil, and Extra. Cluelaw got this account to about 1430 stars before quitting, and at the time the account actually had even better stats, having 24 wins per star and 65 finals per star. And even though not legit, 24 wins per star would have been the top 5 best at the time, and while RRG did somewhat tank the finals and wins per star, he did nearly double the star count, and also he was playing legit the whole time, which getting those stats legit is honestly more impressive than having Cluelaw's stats not legit. If you're wondering how RRG got the account, apparently his rich friend just like bought it for him on his birthday sugar daddy style. Like, why can't I have friends like that, bro? At number 9, we have Chortler with 1503 stars and 82 finals per star with 18 wins per star. And besides one person who we'll get to soon, Chortler has the finals wins per star of anyone above 700 stars, and the 3rd highest legit finals per star of anyone above 300 stars. The other, besides the mystery man, being Mom Got the Cam. And for a bit, Chortler might have been one of the best grinders, since I myself remember him playing in like 2023, and this guy was on top of weekly like every week for a long ass time. And even though this guy is pretty known, from what I can tell, he isn't very liked, as I guess he takes the game pretty seriously and might be a bit of a complainer. He is one of the biggest force mains out there. Like, if you watch my previous video about the worst stats accounts, his addiction to force is pretty similar. Of his 27,400 wins, 25,800 were in fours. But unlike the people in my last video, he does have a very good reason to be a diehard force main, because he's like really ass at every other mode. Even though he has 83 force FKDR, he only has 3 solos FKDR, 4 doubles FKDR, and 3 threes FKDR. I have no idea how the guy got so big from force in every other mode, but I guess you can't really blame him for being a force main if he's quite literally 20 times better at force in every other mode. At number 8, we have MageGee with 1342 stars and 90 finals per star with 19 wins per star. And they actually, as far as I know, have the 3rd highest legit finals per star of anyone besides Son of a Tilt and Genzio. And Son of a Tilt does still blow everyone out of the water, but MageGee is 6 times his star, and he does get a final every 55 seconds for 2,433 hours straight. He also was featured in my stats accounts video, and he's the 3rd highest legit FKDR of anyone above 1,000 stars, though he's still only half of legitimate FKDR, just saying. And he's the 7th highest legit FKDR of anyone above 500 stars, behind legitimate, Dephone, Beat, QT Spoopy, Snowy Hazard, and Laser. He also has the 5th highest 3s FKDR of anyone above 1,000 stars legit or not legit at 124, behind legitimate O Double Roka and Panda, and he's the 6th highest 3s FKDR of anyone above 500 stars. And the only thing suspicious is that he's in Kekuadar, which is a cheaters guild, and I talked about that in my stats video, but from what I know, he kind of just doesn't care about that stuff, and he probably only joined because he was invited. Number 7, we have Andorite with 1701 stars and 61 finals per star with 25 wins per star, and this guy does have the 3rd highest legit wins per star behind Son of a Tilt and Smackaroni. This means he averages 2-minute 40 games for almost 48,000 games, and Andorite is a pretty decent win streaker. They have the 18th highest win streak ever at 733, and they have the 30th highest force win streak, being the same win streak. He also has the 5th highest 3s FKDR of anyone in the top 100, behind Dephone, Moth, Panda, and O-Devil. And even though he's not in the top 230 in stars, he's number 11 in wins, just over 1,000 wins away from number 10, which is pretty crazy. At number 6, we have Finalist with 1415 stars and 101 finals per star with 16 wins per star, which by the way is a crazy ratio. The average ratio should be about 3-to-1, with 3 being your finals per star. And of the people with the very highest finals per star, like Son of a Hill, Genzio, Maki, Chortler, and some other people we'll get to later, their ratio is about 4-to-1. Besides Finalist, the highest ratio is about 5-to-1 from Son of a Tilt. And off topic, he has the most unbalanced ratio while having the 2nd highest wins per star. That's just how high his finals per star is. But anyways, Finalist ratio is 6-to-1, meaning he gets 6 finals per game, and as you might expect, he is an extremely hard force main. Of his 23,800 wins, 21,900 of them were in fours, and the crazy part is 101 finals per star is nowhere near his peak, like at all. A lot of people who aren't new gens have watched this video at some point by Isopod, and as you can probably tell by me mentioning this video is about Finalist. If you ever heard of the player Gex, then yeah, that's this guy. So at one point, they managed to achieve 183 finals per star. Besides Son of a Tilt, that's basically double every other legit player. And the way they did this is kind of cheesy. They solo queued Dreamgrows 4s into ass lobbies and just got like perfect games every game. Also, if you're wondering, they're not legit by a long shot. And while this does seem like the most impressive thing ever, keep in mind this account was quite literally made to have as high finals per star as possible. Everyone else I've mentioned so far most likely does not care much about finals per star, and they just got it from naturally being that good. If those people use this strategy to artificially inflate their finals per star on some alt, I'm sure that they could get even higher than this, maybe even to like 200 if they tried. This still is probably the highest non-battle finals per star ever recorded by a long shot. I mean, even the large majority of botters don't get this high finals per star. This is higher than even some accounts like Secret, Netty, Chef Hates You, Kreb, ElfPvP321, and they've all botted pretty much every game on their account. In their prime, Finalist or Gex got a final every 25 seconds, and they also had 28.9 wins per star, which even though is one of the highest ever, is still a ratio of 6.3-to-1. If those stats were on today's leaderboards, he wouldn't even make top 250,000 in star, but he'd be nearly top 3,000 for finals, meaning he'd be nearly 100 times higher on the leaderboard. Like, what? And even though I am hyping him a lot, he was still a very low start, and if he still had those stats, he'd actually have a lower score of 56,000 instead of 63,000, placing him at number 10 instead of 6. The reason he doesn't have such an insane finals per star anymore is because even though he was cheating his dick off, he was still human, and he eventually just got bored of solo queuing and played with parties. And even though he still gets hard fed, his finals per star is still going down to this day, and by the time this video is out, it'll probably be like below 100, which is for some people including me a pretty satisfying downfall. At number 5 we have Recolor with 1279 stars and 90 finals per star with 21 wins per star, and I do sadly have to mark this guy as a cheater, but the very large majority of these stats are done legitly. Up until about 1240 stars, the original owner was legit, and then they just sold their account to an open cheater, and if they just didn't sell their account, they would have had the highest legit finals per star of anyone above 400 stars, and the third highest legit finals per star of anyone at all that I know of. But then they just had to sell their account to someone who 1 cheats and 2 is literally getting worse stats than they were. Even though they've only played for about 40 stars, they've already brought the finals per star down by 1, and at this rate it's going to be down to 80 by the time they hit 1700 stars, which wouldn't even put them in the top 4 finals per star for everyone above 500 stars, which is kind of a sad downfall. Though even though they're barely in the top 700 for stars, they are number 39 for finals and number 59 for wins. At number 4 we have BBB, 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 8 BBB, also known as O Fury. They have 1692 stars and 80 finals per star with 21 wins per star, and while O Fury definitely wasn't the first person to have finals per star this high, they were the ones that made it like popular and a thing to do. They've pretty much always had above 60 finals per star, which at the time was really good for a 500 star in 2020, and by 800 stars they had 68 finals per star, and they were actually on the lifetime 3s leaderboard by this point, which is pretty impressive. They also had a pretty unbalanced skill set, seeing as they have 9 FKDR in solos, 16 FKDR in doubles, 35 FKDR in 4s, and 81 FKDR in 3s. They also had the 5th highest 3s win streak ever at 739. It's marked as the highest on Salazar's leaderboard, but since then 4 win streaks have made it higher. Become a channel member to see who. They also have the 6th highest 3s win streak ever with Bakshu at 703, which is the 21st highest overall win streak at 669. At number 3 we have Lelet's Panda with 3403 stars and 67 finals per star with 18 wins per star, and this guy is another one of the best top 100 players, and he's done a lot of things in his 7-year career. He's been close or on the star leaderboard for like 6 years, and he has the highest FKDR of anyone in the top 240. He's one of only 2 people to have a win streak on my legit overall leaderboard and cheated overall leaderboard, the other being God Delusion. He has the 40th highest legit overall win streak ever at 532 and the 36th highest cheated win streak at 1032. He also is arguably maybe one of the best 3s win streakers. He has the 3rd highest 3s win streak at 817. He's tied for the most 400 win streaks with AJ at 5. He has the highest legit 3s win streak after obfuscation at 450. He also has the highest doubles win streak after obfuscation at 278. He was number 1 on the wins leaderboard for like 4 years, and he was number 2 in finals, even though at the time I don't even think he was in the top 10 for stars. And while I again won't leak the win streaker leaderboard, he's another person who's comfortably in the top 10, and he also has this high finals per star with doing quests, which is pretty crazy. If he didn't do quests, he'd have 82 finals per star and almost 23 wins per star, which score wise would give him a score of 99,000 and would put him at number 1, but to be fair, both our number 2 and number 1 did some quests as well. He's also the only person to peak above top 15 in wins and finals in 3 different modes leaderboards. He was number 3 and 4 on the solo leaderboards in 2018, number 15 on both doubles leaderboards also in 2018, and he's peaked at number 1 in both 3 leaderboards in 2022 and 2023. So he's literally like the definition of a really good grinder and easily a Hall of Famer in Bedwars. At number 2 we have Winks at 3206 stars with 77 finals per star and 19 wins per star, and when I was making this list I honestly didn't expect him to be here at all, let alone this high. Like, I knew he was really high star and a good grinder, but I didn't know that he was like the best. If you didn't know, this guy is also the best win streaker of the last couple of years. He also has the 4th highest overall win streak in 2024 behind Kirat, Esteli, and Kirat again. He has the 2nd and 3rd highest obfuscation bypass win streaks, both above 1400, and the 2nd and 4th highest win streak after obfuscation without bypass at undisclosed amounts. He has the 1st and 2nd highest doubles win streak in 2024, the 2nd highest 3s win streak in 2024, also being the 7th highest 3s win streak ever, and they're overall just the most consistent win streaker of the last 2 years by a long shot. And even though they're only number 15 in stars, he's number 3 on wins, only 1500 away from number 2, and number 2 on finals. He's also really good at every other mode. He has the 40th highest solo win streak of all time at 131, and I think he's one of only 12 people to have multiple 100 solo win streaks. He's number 1 on the doubles leaderboard, number 11 on 3s, and number 51 on 4s. He also has an 850 4s win streak without fixation bypass, and he has multiple 400 plus 4s win streaks, which I think only like a dozen other people have. He's one of only 2 people to have win streaks in 4 of the 5 major win streak leaderboards, the other person being legitimate. So Winx, according to this list, is the best fully legit grinder, but we do have one more person left on this list, and that is Retuning at number 1 with 664 stars, 106 finals per star, and 33 wins per star. This was supposed to be a lot more of a surprising reveal before I found Son of a Tilt, since then she would have been the lowest star on this list and also the highest finals per star, but Son of a Tilt did happen, so it's a little less impressive, but she's still number 1 by a decently large margin. The distance between number 1 and number 3 is actually kind of crazy considering how the rest of the list is pretty close together. But anyways, I said a bit ago that Winx was the highest fully legit person on this list, and Retuning isn't fully legit, but the large majority of their stats were attained legit. They just started cheating near the end for reasons unknown to me, which kinda is annoying because they would have been easily top 3 best legit stats accounts behind Son of a Tilt and Legitimate, of course. They're the highest FKDR of anyone legit or not legit above 500 stars by like 50 FKDR, and they have 232 FKDR total. They also would have been the second highest legit FKDR of anyone above 200 stars if they were legit, behind Son of a Tilt, of course. And even though I've kind of stopped using this rating as fact anymore, Retuning does have a higher index than Legitimate and Son of a Tilt. They also have 1,000 fourth FKDR, which is actually split, by the way, and if this was legit, then this would be the 3rd highest legit fourth FKDR behind Liability and Deweyer. They also have 309 3s FKDR, and that's almost with 20,000 games. It's not like they just played a little to get a win streak. This is their main mode by far, which we'll talk about later. And they also have the 4th highest 3s FKDR of anyone legit or not legit above 500 stars, behind Curtis, Unsnappable, and Casualism. And if they were legit, which they are close to being, they'd have the highest 3s FKDR of anyone above 200 stars. By the way, I haven't even mentioned what is maybe the most impressive part. She has 33 wins per star. No one, legit or not legit, has ever achieved even 30 wins per star without hard botting. Even Gex, our finalist, who by the way peaked at 183 finals per star, never got a 29 wins per star. Smeckaroni, who was playing with some of the best people in his time in 2018, never got a 30. I once again clarify that it was done mostly legitly, and they averaged like a minute 45 games for 22,500 games, and even though they're not even top 6,200 in star, they're almost in the top 100 for wins, at number 111 and number 149 for finals. They're also still on the 3s leaderboard even though they've quit for years at 600 stars, like why not, I guess. They're also at number 8 for 3s final kills. They have higher wins and finals than WarOG in 3s, who by the way plays 3s as one of his main modes, at 1/10 the star. So this is comfortably number 1 on the list and crowned the best grinder in all of Bedwars. But anyways, that's the video. Thanks for watching, and I do have a community post where you can comment vid ideas, and my next video will likely be from that comment section, so comment any vid ideas you have. Also, I'm pretty close to 1.5k subs, which is halfway to the Discord release, so sub to get closer to that, or become a channel member for early access. This isn't something you can really control for the most part, but I've never had a Bedwars video hit 10k views, so you know, maybe like refresh a couple times, pretty please. Also, sorry for taking like a month. This is my longest video by a good bit, and I won't take this long for every video, which is what I said last video, but like for real this time. So don't worry, I'm not quitting anytime soon, I'm not fading away. But anyways, thanks again to my channel members, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. And 67 finals, and about 6 to I'm not doing that.